All right, hello, first grade friends. It's Miss Nestrick, and we are going to talk about color mixing. So last week when you guys were in art class, we made a color mixing worksheet. We talked about the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and we talked about the secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. We talked about how to make the secondary colors, we have to mix the primary colors together. So for orange, we look to either side of it. You use red and yellow to mix to make orange because they're on either side of orange. Yellow and blue make green, and red and blue make purple. So we talked a little bit about color mixing, but we haven't seen it in person. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a background for a future drawing that we'll do next week in art class. So, in your art packets, you should have some tissue paper, some yellows, blues, maybe you've got red, yellow, blue, maybe you've got pink, yellow, blue. They're kind of random. So, I forgot to put some of this in some packets, and that was completely my fault. So, if you're in the virtual classes, I honestly can't remember if I put tissue paper in your packets. And if I didn't, then I'm going to show you another way that you can do this same thing. So this tissue paper is super special. It is if you use tissue paper from your house that you might use to wrap a present with or put in a gift bag, that tissue paper is made so that it doesn't bleed, so that the color doesn't move onto any of your gifts. But this tissue paper is made so the color comes off of it. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So I'm going to split my paper down the middle so that you can see two different ways to do this. So on this side of my paper, I'm just going to go ahead and label it. I'm going to write tissue. You do not have to do this. This is just so you can see. And on this side, I'm going to write markers. So I'm going to start with my tissue paper side. So on the tissue paper side, I'm going to take some tissue, and I'm going to just place one piece down. I'm also going to need water and a paintbrush. Both sides will need the water and paintbrush. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in water, remembering to be gentle. We stay on our tippy tiptoes, and I'm going to paint my tissue paper. So all I'm doing right now is adding water to it, and the water is acting like a glue on my paper. Ooh, one thing to point out, underneath my sketchbook paper, I put a white piece of construction paper so that it will catch the extra water that might go through my tissue. So I'm going to pick another color of tissue paper. Take this blue. I'm going to paint it all the way down using lots of water. You can kind of see that the colors are already bleeding. Maybe I'll get a different color blue. I'm just going to keep layering. I'm going to overlap. I'm going to make sure that my tissue paper is totally covered in water, nice and soaked, which is why we have a sheet of paper underneath our sketchbook paper. Just going to keep layering. If it gets dry, just add a little bit more water to your paintbrush. Go all the way to the edge. Paint the whole thing. This will not take you long. This is a fast project. But make sure that you fill your whole paper. If you have little areas that you missed, like I just missed a little area right there, you can tear your paper to fill in that spot. So maybe I want to use this light blue, and I want to use a little bit right here, and I'll use a little bit over here, a little bit down here. You don't have to use whole sheets. You can make them smaller if you'd like. Remember to make it really wet. Does anyone notice? I wonder if you noticed what colors I used. I used pink, yellow, and blue because these are my primaries. You might have red, blue, and yellow, or you might have pink, blue, and yellow. It just kind of depended on your box. But these are our primary colors, and remember they mix to make new colors, which you can already see. I've got some orange, some dark red over here because I had pink and yellow. I have some green up here. I really like that orange down here. I think I might tear some pink off and add some. Making sure it's really wet. And we're going to leave that there to dry. Do not touch it once it's wet. Just leave your sketchbook open and leave it to dry. It might take a couple hours, and that's okay. So we want to leave it just as it is. Now, on the other side, we can use markers. So on this side, I have red, yellow, and blue, my primary colors. You could also use pink if you have a pink marker. I like the way that the pink blends. So on the marker side, you can do lines or you can do scribbles. So I'm going to put some lines close together. I'm thinking about an abstract background. We want to make sure that it's nice and juicy. We can put our marker colors right up next to each other. Oops, drop my yellow. You can use any type of line that you'd like. What I'm doing is I'm making sure it's super thick, really nice and juicy, and putting two primary colors right next to each other. This will only work if you use lots of juice. I wonder if you guys can hear that helicopter going over there. It's a pretty loud helicopter. Let's see, what other colors do I need? So I've got two of each color combination. I'll start with that, and if I want to add more, I can. So now that my colors are nice and juicy, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to add water to my paintbrush. And instead of painting the tissue, I'm going to paint the marker. What's really cool about washable markers is that they bleed just like the tissue paper does. So I use Crayola markers at school. You guys can see it's blending and mixing to make the secondary colors. So red and yellow make orange. Red and blue make purple. And blue and yellow make green. So we're making our own little abstract painting. You can cover the whole page if you'd like to. Notice that I'm staying on the tippy toes of my paintbrush and not doing a boot, scoot, and buggy. Tippy toes of my paintbrush, even if I am working fast. This color kind of turned out teal. I like this color, so I'm going to spread it around a little more. You need to go up a little bit. These are blending a little bit, so I'm going to pull it down. Got some purplish gray, mixing with my orange. I got some orange right here. I'm just going to bring that color all over my page. There might be some white spots. There might be some spots that don't want to mix together. That is okay. Make it abstract. Remember, abstract art just uses lines, shapes, and colors. It doesn't have to look like anything. It might be inspired by something, but it doesn't have to look exactly like it. I have a lot of white space up here. I think I need some more orange. So I'm going to do some yellow and red. Oh yeah. Overlapping some of my colors, some of them I'm leaving some space. So you'll fill the page, and then both of these you'll let dry. If you use markers, then you can just let it dry overnight, and you won't have anything else to do with it. The tissues, once they dry, will start to lift off the page. And if you used enough water, then the color will stay on your paper. You can see that I didn't use enough water in all my sections, so I might need to go back and add some more in some of my sections. So I can get my paintbrush wet again, go back over, maybe I paint the whole thing a second time, see if that gets any more color onto my paper. Make sure you fill the page. I know this is a fast project today. Doesn't take very long at all, but we will be using this as a background for a drawing next week. So we're going to draw something else using black marker or a black pencil or crayon next week. So make sure you bring that with you and let this dry. If you have any questions, message me on Schoology and make sure you take a picture and submit it. I will see you guys soon. Good luck. Adios.